Here we are, a live Q&A. You ask questions, I give answers, and we're going to do this for 30 minutes. I got some questions coming in from Facebook comments, Facebook messages. If you're watching this live, you may be on the Google Hangout page, and I'll keep my eye on it for comments. There's also a Q&A chat feature on the Google Hangouts. So the reason I'm doing this is I'm sort of testing out this format and wanted to answer some questions that might have benefit to more than one person. So you can all share these answers here. So I'm just going to pull up the question. So the first question from Sarwar says, how do you manage time with a interconnected world? So the question is about being too busy with so much going on, interconnected world. So I'm assuming that's email, Facebook, text message, everything else. And I know Sarwar is a relationships guy. He's always wanting to meet with people and probably has more friends than he has time to be with. So I have a couple of suggestions for you there. And I'm just going to pull something up here. Okay. So Sarwar, the first thing is duplicate yourself whenever you can. So what I mean by that is if you're going to an event, invite a couple friends to join you. If you're going to have lunch somewhere, invite a few people to join you. That way, just the act of inviting is a way to connect with people. As well, it's a nice touch point and it makes people feel connected and wanted. And some of them are going to be able to come, some of them are not. So look at your calendar for the next couple of weeks and look at the events that you could invite someone to and reach out to people either by phone, by text message, by email. It's always better to have an individual invitation than a group invitation. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing is define how much time you want to spend socializing in a given week. Certain people need a lot of socializing to stay energized. So just think about what's a good amount for you. If you're feeling like you're not socializing enough, then pick it up a bit. If you feel like you're socializing too much, then turn it down. Put it in your calendar. So put it in your calendar for the next month, blocks of time where you want to spend with friends or family or whatever it is, and build events around those that help you achieve other goals. So what I mean by that is, if you've got some business goals, you want to have business networking or you want to learn things about business, then make those social events business related. Combine the two together. Or if you want to be more creative, then do a night where you and a couple of buddies are getting together to paint or color or build something. That would be another way to achieve one goal while achieving another goal. So I have a structure for an ideal week. My ideal week has a couple of days where I'm working at home, a couple of days where I'm working at Invest Ottawa, where I work with young entrepreneurs, and I plan my meetings to be in the afternoon because I know I enjoy meetings, I look forward to meetings, I like being with people, and the harder stuff for me is the stuff where I have to focus on the computer. So I know that if I wait until the afternoon to do that stuff, it's going to be harder for me. So I'll do it earlier in the day and I'll look forward to the meetings and they'll energize me. So this is a matter of you determining what is your energetic pattern, as in, does your energy go up later in the day or does it go down later in the day? And do people events energize you or do they drain you? And you schedule them accordingly. So I would recommend that you have a template for an ideal week and know in there which times are good for socializing. Okay? All right, I got another question here from Nick. So another video on mediums of communication and how to deal with the situation where someone takes it the wrong way. I don't know, just thinking up interesting topics. Okay, so if someone takes your, sorry, I got things beeping all around me here. Okay, just gonna put this puppy on silent. So say you post some content, haters are gonna hate, right? You post some content and you get some haters, or people take it the wrong way. So what can you do? Well, first of all, you gotta appreciate the haters. You know, there's a lot of haters who don't comment, who don't post, so at least they're sharing with you the negative feedback. Rule number one is agree. Hey, I can see why you see it that way. I apologize. You're right, I'm sorry. Those 4 words, you're right, I'm sorry, are the best way to diffuse any kind of conflict. I don't suggest you ignore it, because I think there's wisdom in people's criticism. At least understanding, like, oh wow, so people can actually see it that way. I didn't think of it that way, right? So take that wisdom, thank them for their feedback. Thank you, you're right, I'm sorry, but you don't need to change anything. But to build the relationship with that person, you want to validate their concerns. So I hope that answers your question, Nick. Mediums of communication and how to deal with a situation where someone takes it the wrong way. So I don't know if I addressed mediums of communication. So the best high bandwidth communication is a face-to-face meeting, face-to-face conversation, where you can see their body language, you can see the nuance in their face. Second best, I would say, is probably phone, better than video chat. Because video chat, there's always these technical problems. You know, you're breaking up, I can't hear you. Video chat is not as reliable as the phone. So phone's really good, and in a lot of ways it's more efficient, because you're not driving across town and ordering a coffee and taking an hour. You know, it might be a 10-minute phone call. Way better, there's like a whole huge gap between phone calls and emails. Emails are just, for me, they take longer to write than just making a quick phone call. And the chances of them being misinterpreted are so high. So especially when dealing with someone who's upset, phone call is better than an email. And it's better than, say, a video message. You know, video, anything that's one way, an email message or a video message or a voicemail, it doesn't allow the person to say, okay, thanks. You know, like if you say, hey, it's Majid. Hey, I saw your comment and I got your email, and I wanted to thank you, first of all, for bringing that to my attention. And you are right. It is what you said it is. And I am sorry about that. I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate it, and didn't mean to offend you. Wasn't my intention. Okay, so that would be an example of a message you can do that way. Phone call, better than a voicemail. All right, let's see if we've got any more questions here. All right, someone asked a question. What do you do if you're a nice guy and share ideas and things you do in your industry, and then the person you trusted just copies, takes them as their ideas? Ooh, burn, intellectual property violation. So what do you do when someone steals your ideas and takes credit for them? This is a tricky one. There's an old saying that says mimicry is the most sincere form of flattery. So first of all, feel flattered that someone has stolen your ideas. It means they're a good idea. It means it's a good idea. From a legal perspective, I'm very afraid of lawyers and courts and suing, and I don't think that's really the right path here. But again, I think a phone call, reaching out and starting a dialogue and saying, hey, I noticed you were using some of my content. There's a little formula for sharing a sensitive feeling. It's a 1, 2, 3 ABC formula. So 1, 2, 3 is, I feel this way when this thing happens. Would you be willing to make this change? So 1 is I feel feeling. 2 is when this thing happened. 3 is when could you make this change? So, hey, I felt kind of upset when I saw that you posted that content that I created earlier. Would you be willing to take it down, for example? You know, I think there's a possibility for collaboration. And I think, like, if you feel really like in a scarcity world, competition is like you're stealing my piece of the pie and I'm stealing your piece of the pie. But in an abundant world, you go, oh, we're both on the similar mission. We have a similar message. Why don't we work together? We don't need to be competition. We can help each other out. So you reach out to the person. I don't think internet commenting and hating is necessarily going to be very productive. Imagine a comment that you post and say, hey, that was my idea. You stole it from me. Well, what are they going to do? They're either going to delete your comment. They're going to deny the allegation. It's not going to build your relationship with them. You want to get lawyers involved. That, to me, is just never a good idea. So if there's a possibility to collaborate, to reach out to the individual, probably the best solution. But remember, be flattered. Someone's stealing your ideas. And if your idea is good, people are going to try to steal it. If you have a good idea, people are going to try to steal it anyway. So, entrepreneurs can come to me a lot at Invest Ottawa and say, hey, don't tell anybody about my idea, which is really hard to market your business when nobody knows about your idea. But once you have a good idea and it's out in the wild, people are going to try to copy. So you're going to need to out-execute the competition anyway. So just out-execute. Do it better. Do it faster. Do it more valuably. And you will rise to the top. All right, another question. What do you do if you are a very positive person and you are out at events and negative people to come up to you and just start complaining about things like the venue or the people or the format? Good question. So you are noticing negative people, which is a good awareness. And sometimes, why do people complain? People complain because it meets a need of theirs. It meets the need for significance and for validation. So if you give it to them, then they're going to keep on doing it. So if you're giving them attention or if you're giving them agreement, they're going to keep on doing it. So usually my approach is just to look at the opposite or look at the bright side. So, man, I really don't like this venue. Oh, really? Well, I think it's pretty nice. It sure beats my garage. Whatever. Positive, fun comment. You're probably not going to connect with that person, because they're looking for validation. They're looking for agreement. That's where you get these little negativity circles. So just don't validate them. Stay positive. And my policy is I'm in and I have a no negativity zone. So people with negativity get repelled from my zone. I don't connect with them. I don't understand them. I don't validate them. So I think it's a good awareness to have, and just don't validate them. Don't give them oxygen. Don't continue the conversation. Just gently, politely disagree. Say, what was the question again? People are complaining about things, the venue, the people, the format. You don't need to make it confrontational, like saying, oh yeah, you think you could do better? I mean, you don't need to go there. You can just say, well, sorry you feel that way. I'm enjoying it just fine. Whatever. You don't need to give them any oxygen. That's my opinion. Let's see, other questions coming in. Checking Facebook for the comments. All right. No more comments on the Facebook or the Google Hangout. I was having a conversation. I'll just share with you something that someone found valuable in a conversation yesterday. I was talking to a food service gentleman who's a very nice guy, and he offers a food delivery service, but he wasn't getting sales. And so we talked about it, and he said, you know, people like me, people like the service. And so I asked him, so what's your closing question? And he said, what's a closing question? I said, what's your question that gets them to buy? What is the purchase question? And he goes, well, I guess I say, keep me in mind for your next event, because he like caters lunches at offices. Keep me in mind the next time you need an office lunch. So I said, well, why don't you ask for the sale? And he just kind of paused for a minute. He goes, I don't know. Should I? So this is a common mistake that people make in sales is they don't close. So I like to differentiate sales and closing with sales is the presentation of what you do or what you sell, and it's the process of asking questions and qualifying the buyer to see if they have the need, if they have the budget, if they're ready to buy now. But then you have to close. And the close can be as simple as, all right, you want to do this? Yes or no? Or, okay, let's do this. Or let's give it a shot. So I asked him, well, why don't you just say, when's your next office meeting that requires a lunch? The answer to that question is a day. So, you know, they say, well, we're having a meeting next Wednesday. We're going to order lunch. Then you go, perfect. Why don't you hire me? Why don't you get lunch from me? So you want to ask for the sale. Ask for the sale and make it super easy. Make it, you know, do you want to pay with cash, check, or credit card right now? You know, take the credit card number down over the phone. Whatever it is, make it easy for them to buy right now, because you know that they need it because you've asked them questions and you go, yeah, this product is right for them. They know that they need it, but then there's this just like last couple of inches where it just gets awkward, and you have to be the professional and power through this awkwardness by continuing to ask closing questions, not just the first time, but over and over and over. You say, you know, when's good for you? Next week or 2 weeks from now? How would you like this thing delivered, in the front or the back? You know, these are option closes where either answer is a yes to purchase. And you want to avoid asking, do you want to purchase? Yes or no. Instead, say the option closes or the let's do this, sign here, need your approval here. So you really want to practice and rehearse and drill those last couple of sentences. So I was working with a landscaping company recently. They do sodding. So they'll come to your house and they'll redo your whole lawn for like $3,000. So it's not a small purchase. But the person who calls the sodding company, they need sod. They want sod. They get some estimator to come out and do an estimate on how much it's going to cost. They take the measurements and everything. And at that moment, they have the opportunity to purchase. But only 1 in 10 people actually purchase at that moment. That's because they weren't really asking for the close. They were saying, okay, see you later. Let us know if you're interested. So we did some training on just the close. And we came up with about 15 different ways to ask for the sale and ways to overcome objections. So objections, sometimes they're just complaints. Like, man, this is really expensive. And you can just get over that by saying, you know what, you're right. It is expensive. Let's do it anyway. Just like that. Do it anyway. Let's do it anyway. Yeah, you're right. It is expensive. You agree with them. Let's do it anyway. Or another way to say it is, you're right. It is expensive. And all my clients say it's worth every penny. Let's do it. Right? So you're validating their concern or their complaint. It's not a real objection, as in like it's a deal breaker. Here's another one that they get a lot. This landscaping company, they get a I have to talk to my spouse and she's not here right now, or he's not here right now. So there's a number of things you can do here. One is you can mitigate that on the front end before you set the appointment, and you say, is there anyone else that's going to be involved in the ultimate decision of whether or not you make this investment? You know, use the word investment instead of purchase or cost. It's investment because you're getting a return when you get the thing. Is there anyone else going to be involved in the decision to make this investment? And if they say, yeah, I'll probably need to talk to my wife, then you go, great. When would be a time when you and your wife would be able to meet with me? So you have the decision-making group present for the presentation. Instead of giving the whole presentation and going, great, I love it, just got to talk to my wife, right? And then you probably lose most of those sales because then they cool off and they're not emotionally invested anymore, and they let fear overcome their willingness to make the commitment and the decision to make the purchase or the investment. So you can mitigate it on the front end, and you can also overcome it during the presentation. So say at the end of the presentation, the prospect says, I just need to talk to my wife about it. Then you say, well, let me ask you something. What do you think they'll say? Do you think they'll say yes or they'll say no? And if the person says, oh, I'm pretty sure they'll say yes, then you go, great, well, let's do it. Boom. You know, between husband and wife usually can make a decision without the guy. Guy usually needs to ask the wife. This is my experience, and I did read that somewhere. I can't give you the exact study on that one, but women are more often in charge of household purchases. So this was the case for this landscaping company. So, you know, what would she say? Would she say yes or would she say no? If she says yes, then great, let's do it. And she'll be happy you made a decision. Hey, does she know you're here right now talking to me? Yes. Does she know you're purchasing sodding? Yes. Great. Then make a decision. She'll be happy about it, right? So there's that. If the person says, well, I think she'll say no, then you want to uncover why would she say no? Is it because of the price? Is it because of the product? And then you kind of uncover the real objection. And then you say, well, if we can handle that, would you go ahead with the purchase? And if they say yes to that, then you know what the true objection is and you can close. So studying and mastering and practicing the close is a really important skill for entrepreneurs. Sales and the presentation and the questions and explaining the thing, that's all good and that's necessary to get to the close. But without the close, everyone loses. Not just you, the entrepreneur, but the customer loses too, because they don't get to benefit from the service or the product that you were going to offer them. So that's a little bit of a tip on sales and closing that I thought would be valuable for you. I'm actually going to be offering a webinar on sales skills for new entrepreneurs. It's something I'm developing for Invest Ottawa. We're going to offer it live. Check the Invest Ottawa event calendar. If you are in Ottawa, go to investottawa.ca/events, and there's an event calendar, and it's called Sales Skills for New Entrepreneurs. I think it's in a week or two. Let's see here. June 8th. So it's in a couple weeks. June 8th at 1 p.m. in Ottawa. We'll do sales skills for new entrepreneurs. But stay tuned. I'm going to do a webinar first. I'll do a webinar with this content first, kind of test it out on you and see what kind of questions you would like answered about sales. So I hope this was useful for you. If you're watching the recording, make a comment below. Tell me what you got out of it, what you found useful, and post some questions that I can answer in the next Q&A. I might do this regularly if it becomes useful enough for you. All right, thank you for stopping in. Thanks for watching the video. My name is Majid, like magic, helping you realize your potential. Have a great day.